What's up, boys and girls? It's Lee here. Now, for those of you that's listening to this right now on the downloads, you all have a really nice exclusive right here because I did not get a chance to talk about this live on the air. But with regards to the WWE Universal title, those of you that got a chance to see the SummerSlam pay-per-view tonight, can we all be in agreement? That title is ugly as fuck. I mean, it is just like screaming crimson. I don't like it. It's like creatively the most boring, blandest looking piece of hardware I've seen ever. Like, I'm reminded of the WWE CWC, and I see how the guys from that motorcycle TV series that was on Discovery, Orange Chopper or something like that, I see how they built a cool kick-ass trophy, not a belt, a freaking trophy. And I'm just kind of thinking wow, couldn't these guys have brought their same talents to creating the WWE Universal title? I mean, it literally is ending up just how many of us thought it was going to go down weeks and weeks back, which is, there's going to be a blue title and there's going to be a red title. Of all the creative designs, this is the best that WWE were able to come up with. I understand wanting for there to be a situation where when you see that belt, you recognize it and you're it's the WWE champion, but come on, man. See, I've always been a sucker for the Eagle Wing belt from back in the day. I always thought that was one of the most coolest freaking title designs that was out there for a belt. And I'm just a little disappointed that there was no creative energy whatsoever that went into the design. That shit was fucking ugly. I mean, you had no choice but to look away. That's how ugly that thing was. That belt was so ugly that a majority of the New York crowd that was there in attendance actually booed the hell when they saw it appear on the Titantron. They did not like it. And you could definitely tell that Finn Balor really wasn't trying to hold that title like that either, because every time he kind of put the title up there in the air, fans were booing. They weren't booing at him. He didn't do anything wrong. It's just that belt looks fucking ugly as hell. I mean, I miss the days where when somebody was the WWE champion, they customized the hell out of that belt to basically fit their personality. The Rock had the Brahma Bull. Stone Cold Steve Austin had the Smoking Skull. Triple H, I think he did some weird jazz for a hot minute where he had some H's. Maybe it was H templates on the side of the belt or whatever. I know Miz, he did his own unique thing when he was the champion. I just wish we could kind of go back to those days again. But I definitely want to get you all's thoughts on that. I just could not finish putting this episode together unless I had gave you guys on the download something exclusive. So I did not get a chance to talk about this live. I wanted to, but I felt that it was much more cooler and meaningful to do this for you guys that's going to be checking this out on the downloads, because I know I promised you all a couple of weeks back that I was going to start giving you guys some exclusive stuff that I share with you all. Just my way of taking a nod off to you guys, saying, hey man, thanks for showing me the love and the support, checking out the shows on the downloads and on demand. So on that note, we now officially take you now to the SummerSlam after show, where I give my overall takeaway of this event. Enjoy. Listen to the RCWR Show with Lee Sanders live every Tuesday night after WWE SmackDown, 10 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker.com for all the very latest in great talk of wrestling, entertainment, pop culture news, and beyond, along with some kick-ass interviews with some special guests. 10 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker.com every Tuesday night. Can't catch the show live? You can scoop it up on demand and on the downloads on great platforms such as Google Play, Spreaker, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and on YouTube. Just use the keywords The RCWR Show.
Yo, it's your boy JTG, aka the author of Damn Why'd I Write This Book, and you are listening to RCWR Show. Yo!
Warning, the RCWR Show with Lee Sanders is intended for a mature audience only. The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive. Covering the latest in wrestling, entertainment, and beyond. Since 2011, you're listening to the RCWR Show. Now, your host, live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Oh yeah, what's going on? Your man right here, Black Avenger, Black Azrael, Lee Sanders. You're checking out a special edition of the RCWR Show coming at you this Sunday night of August 21st, 2016, as it's that time once again. We're talking WWE Summerslam. This go round, as always, I want to hear from you guys that happen to have seen tonight's pay-per-view event. Interact with me a couple of ways. You can pop your head in the chat room. That's open right now via Spreaker. You can also grab my attention via Twitter at the RCWR Show. Facebook as well. Same name, you guessed it, the RCWR Show. A lot of ground to cover, man. I'm just going to go on ahead. I'm just going to go right for it because I know a lot of you guys are probably gearing up to go back to school. You got work in the morning. I know a lot of people went on vacation just a couple of weeks ago, and it was their last hurrah for a vacation before things got back to boring as far as work goes and all that. So I know a lot of you guys are probably going to be starting back on your regular schedule this week coming up. So definitely appreciate you guys that's checking this out live right now, because I know there are a lot of you guys that sat through a lot of WWE content all week long, but then going into tonight's pay-per-view event, because remember, we had got a 2-hour kickoff show that began at 5 p.m. Eastern, and then the actual pay-per-view event itself did not commence until 7 p.m. So a lot of content, let alone today, to check out, and then WWE expects for you to stick around on the WWE Network and check out the Holy Foley series. I'll actually check that out when it's on demand and all that jazz, but I checked out hour 2 of the pre-show. I'm not sure how many of you guys actually checked out the first hour, but for me, I figured if it was anything like last year's SummerSlam, because that was, if I'm not mistaken, a 2-hour event as well. I remember them doing something along the nature of hour 1. They had exclusive interviews. They did a recap of the matches that you could expect and all that. But then I remember the second hour, it was pretty much what you would normally expect for a 1-hour pre-show. Might have not been last year's SummerSlam. I might be thinking WrestleMania. So my mind's a little bit fuzzy, but in either case, 2 hours for a pre-show, I just felt that was just a little bit too much overkill. But I did understand that it was all in the name of trying to promote SummerSlam. But I did come in on hour 2 for the pre-show. I thought the pre-show panel did a decent job for the most part. That consisted of Renee Young, Booker T, Jerry the King Lawler, Lita. Was it just me, or did it seem like this go round, Lita, at least for this pre-show, Lita came off better than Jerry Lawler? I mean, I don't know, man. Jerry Lawler just seems so freaking outdated. It makes no freaking sense. I really hope that WWE going forward, they come up with a better way to utilize. Is that my phone? Yes, it is my phone. I thought I had it on vibrate. Sorry about that, guys. Let me put that on vibrate so I can silence that. All right. No, but with regards to Jerry the King Lawler, I hope that WWE execs move him to a different position. I think he has a bright future as far as the WWE Network goes in the form of original content. I still believe, and I'm a firm believer on this, let Jerry the King Lawler host a OG series, a OG series for wrestlers. You could basically do like a Legends of Wrestling roundtable. You could like bring that back, or maybe you could borrow a page from Kayfabe Commentaries and Sean Oliver and how they do that whole timeline of a particular promotion, and they talk about what transpired that respective year under the promotion. If maybe you could do something like that with Jerry Lawler as the host along with a special guest. Not to mention the archives of wrestling footage that he has from when he was affiliated with territories from back in the day, which he owns. So it's just a travesty that, like, as long as the WWE has been in existence now, the network that is, I'm talking about that, they haven't quite gotten to that point yet. But I do hope in due time they do. But Jerry Lawler, to me, just, I don't know, it's just really kind of like coming full circle for me, I guess, that he's just really so outdated, and that is not entirely his fault. It's really the fault of the people that's putting him in place and not updating him, but to each its own. But the panel, I thought they did a pretty decent job. So let's go with our pre-show matches. So we had our first pre-show match. I actually did not check out this match. This possibly had went down during hour one. It was the American Alpha, Jason Jordan and Chad Gable, the Hype Bros, which consisted of Zack Ryder and Mojo Rawley, and the Usos. They defeated Breezango, the Ascension, and the Vaudevillains. It was a 12-man tag team match. Now, some of you guys may be going, wait a minute, Lee, you're pulling my chain, right? Because didn't I watch something like that go down on SmackDown a couple of weeks ago? And to that, I would say, yes, my friend, you are correcto mundo. Haven't said that in a good minute. I'm kind of showing my age saying that. But you are correct. We did see that a couple of weeks ago. But hey, look, so nice. Do it again. Honestly, I would imagine if it was anything like what we had saw on SmackDown a couple of weeks ago, I would hope that it equaled to that, because I actually thought the 12-man tag match was really good. I hope that it was equal to what they did on SmackDown some weeks back, if not better. But again, we saw the team of American Alpha, Hype Bros, and the Usos defeat Breezango, Ascension, and the Vaudevillains. Moving on to our second pre-show match of the night. These next two pre-show matches actually transpired during hour two. We had saw Sami Zayn and Neville defeat the Dudley Boyz. Decent tag match, a little bit short. It was just shy of 10 minutes. I couldn't help it as I was looking at this match. I couldn't help but go, my God, Sami Zayn, what the hell, man? What's going on? That was my question to Sami Zayn. What's going on? Like Neville, I know he just came back not that long ago, and probably a case right now of WWE creative and booking trying to figure out exactly what do they want to do with Neville. But we go to Sami Zayn, who had his injuries and all that. He had that great comeback feud series of months there with Kevin Owens, and you're just like, all right, so if you're a Sami Zayn fan, you're going, hey, Sami Zayn, he's back, he's better than ever, and you're a little bit comfortable with his placement on the card. But to see Sami Zayn on a pre-show, I just couldn't help but kind of look at that and say, what the hell? Because for me, it was just, it really came off like, wow, so booking doesn't have anything better that they could do with Sami Zayn, so rather than just leave him off of the card completely, which honestly I think it was a very smart move, because 9 times out of 10 you probably would have had hardcore Sami Zayn fans whining and crying about the fact that they did not get to see Sami Zayn at SummerSlam. So, although he wasn't on the actual pay-per-view card itself, just the fact that he was involved in the pre-show to SummerSlam is kind of a nice nod, especially to those that's in attendance and all that. But I just couldn't help but kind of take a step back, look at that, and kind of say, man, that like kind of sucks. And hopefully it's like the very last time, at least for the very foreseeable future, that Sami Zayn is in that type of a position. I definitely want to give a nod to the Dudley Boyz as well. Even though this match was just under 10 minutes, I enjoyed seeing a little bit more out of the Dudley Boyz, because remember, earlier this week on Monday Night Raw, we actually saw the Dudleys in a very brief match. I don't even think it made it 4 minutes. We pretty much saw them in like a squash match against New Day's Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. Like, no muscle help from Big E, no help, well, maybe somebody interfered, and there was nothing. I mean, they just squashed the hell out of the Dudleys in less than 4 minutes, and that had rubbed a lot of people wrong. As you would imagine, it rubbed them wrong big time, because it was like, okay, no problem. And I think that was the main sentiment as an overall community from a lot of the people that I interacted with, and just a lot of what I saw of people saying in forums and things of that nature, which was, hey, look, don't have a problem with the Dudley Boyz coming in, especially after they've done many interviews since they've been back with the WWE, saying they would love to put over the younger talent. They appreciate and respect the positions that they're in right now and have no problem with that. They just recently ironed out a new deal with the WWE that probably is going to see them stick around with the company at least for another year. So nobody really has a problem with the Dudley Boyz putting over younger up-and-coming talent, but it's like, my God, can you at least... And it's not entirely on the fault of the Dudleys. I want to make sure we really stress that. But at the same time, they do need to take a little bit of that blame as well. I understand that they're playing in somebody else's sandbox, but if you were to say to me, hey, look, you got New Day, they're going to squash the Dudleys in 4 minutes, it's like, okay, who interfered would probably be the question on a lot of people's minds that's followed the career of the Dudley Boyz. And then when they hear, oh, well, there was no type of interference whatsoever, then your next question is, okay, well, did like somebody get injured or something? No, nobody got injured. So like, did anything weird happen to like justify this match ending so soon? No, it was just a squash match. And a lot of people would just have a hard time like processing that and just going, okay, if they're going to win, just can we like stretch it out a little bit? So I think between the Dudleys and management, I kind of think it was a little bit justified here tonight. I think fans being as vocal as they were earlier in the week, WWE probably caught a little bit of that, and I think they did a little bit better here tonight with Sami Zayn and Neville taking on the Dudley Boyz. We had saw another miscommunication on the side of the Dudley Boyz in this respected matchup. Now, key moments towards the end of this tag match, which was a pretty decent tag match to say the least. We had saw Neville, he actually was being set up for 3D by the Dudleys, when Neville was able to just leap over Devon. You know how they do it, like usually Devon pretty much throws him up in the air, Bubba Ray catches that opponent by the head, boom, pretty much that's the 3D. Well, when Devon leaped Neville into the air, Neville actually pretty much used the momentum and pretty much jumped over Devon's head. Bubba Ray sees this, he tries to clothesline Neville. Devon turns around and wham, Bubba Ray clotheslines the hell out of Devon. This gives Neville an opportunity to get back in there. Sami Zayn. This gives Sami Zayn an opportunity to get back in there, help out Neville. Sami Zayn connects with a hula kick. Is that what he's calling it? The hula kick? Hula kick? Whatever that kick to the face. That modified big boot. Let's go with that one. You can't get that one wrong. To the face of Devon. No, Bubba Ray. It was Bubba Ray that got the kick. And then we see Neville gingerly get up to the top turnbuckle, performs the red arrow. That pretty much was it. A lot of people are under the impression if maybe possibly, we could be seeing the Dudleys maybe getting ready to split up. I really hope that's not the case. I mean, all due respect to the Dudleys, especially to Bubba Ray. I was about to call him Bully Ray because I was thinking about his tenure as a singles guy in TNA wrestling 45 years of age. For WWE standards, that's pretty damn late to just all of a sudden, all right, so we're going to go ahead, we're going to take you out of this tag team spotlight, and we're going to put you as a singles competitor. I'm not really seeing that right now. I would actually be pretty surprised if they ended up splitting up the Dudleys. I know a lot of people are kind of like, what's going on right here? I mean, just think about it. Just think about it for a brief second before we move on to the other matches. Like, Bubba Ray Dudley, Devon, like, does anybody even remember the first go-round when those guys were in the WWE and we had, like, the first go-round with the draft and how these two had got split up? Devon went the Deacon Devon route. Probably the only thing that was good about that was we got introduced to Deacon Batista. Enough said. Other than that, the gimmick was just like, you have a few people, and I'm on that short list of people that actually was able to tolerate the Reverend gimmick. I thought it was kind of hilarious. I thought it had a lot more steam in its tank before WWE decided to pull the plug on it. But to each its own. That's just me. We may have different opinions on that one, but that's just where I come from with regards to that. But honestly, you know, even way back then, Bubba Ray, a singles competitor, he had a far more successful run than Devon, and probably the one testament that comes out in my mind is that infamous night, and it's actually on their DVD that came out not too long ago, where Bubba Ray had got in the face of Triple H. And he cut like this real passionate promo. It was like during that time period where Triple H had Ric Flair pretty much as his lapdog / manager, and it was basically like Triple H was the second coming of the Nature Boy and all that. But you think about Bubba Ray's tenure in TNA wrestling, and you're like, hey, he did pretty phenomenal down there, was able to rebuild himself. I just don't see it, guys. 45 years of age. I mean, if he was in his late 30s, maybe I could entertain it, but that's a touch and go. I need to see exactly for a couple of more weeks how things are going to be playing out with Bubba Ray and Devon. But once again, we saw Sami Zayn and Neville pick up the win over the Dudleys. To the actual pay-per-view card. Oh, we got one more pre-show match. Sheamus, Cesaro. This was their first match in a best of 7 series. I told you guys, I was very vocal about my thoughts on this series. I went a step further and said, as far as who I think is probably going to win it overall, I said Cesaro, and I gave my reasons why. You can actually check out the previous edition of the RCWR show when you get done with this. It's available on the downloads and on demand. But I couldn't help but stress that, man, this best of series, WWE is really going to be testing the patience, the willpower, as far as the enthusiasm, the excitement in the WWE fans. And maybe they did some type of a pep talk with Sheamus and Cesaro. I don't know. But whatever went down from the time that these guys were told, hey, look, we're going to do like a best of 7 series with you all, and to now, it's just like, because this match, this first of the series, fantastic. I mean, I was actually blown away. These guys actually brought it. I don't know if maybe both of these guys had like a serious chip on their shoulders, because they're like, hey, we're on the pre-show card, so let's make the best of this. Let's get people talking. Let's see if we can steal the freaking show. It definitely helped that they had a lot of time to put into this match. They had about almost 15 minutes to tell their story in this matchup, and I tell you, it was a great back and forth. I had thoroughly enjoyed it. I was quite surprised. But you know, I still feel that this best of 7 series is missing something. One thing that I have to follow up on what I said earlier this week when I was offering match ideas, predictions, and this was one of the matches that I talked about. I stress that, like, there needs to be a carrot dangling over the heads of the fans to really make them feel invested about this particular match. Like, why should they care about this best of 7 series? Like, this isn't a case where it's Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin, or The Rock, or Triple H, Kurt Angle, or Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit. You know, it's not a case of anything like that. This is just 2 guys, just as it stands right now, storyline purposes wise, bragging rights. That's what it's pretty much all about. And it's like, you know, that's testing the patience of fans, because make no mistake about it, a lot of folks love Cesaro. Sheamus, not so much. And he can do whatever he wants to do with his hair. He can change it to whatever color. He can crop it up, chop it up any type of way he wants. It's not going to change the fact that most fans nowadays just aren't feeling him like they used to years prior. Different story for another time. But, you know, it's like, where's the carrot over the fans' head to make them feel invested in this? And quite honestly, it's just that little tiny bit of an ingredient that just really surprises me that WWE didn't like cross all their X's and O's, and they still have a little bit of time. Maybe they can actually add a stipulation to this match. I still feel that the carrot that should be dangled storyline wise should be, hey, look, whoever wins this best of 7 series, they get the opportunity to either try to go after the United States champion, whoever that may be, at the conclusion of the best of 7 series, or they can go after the WWE Universal Champion, whoever that may be. But it's their choice. They can't have both. It's one or the other. So now I know most people would probably be like, "Oh, Lee, that sucks. You know, it's so obvious that they're going to go for the big belt. They're going to go for the Universal title." Not necessarily, because some may be like, well, man, we got freaking Rusev holding on to that United States title. You know, at the conclusion of this best of 7 series, Rusev is still holding on to that title. Well, then obviously if, say, for example, Cesaro wins it, then maybe Cesaro becomes like a super baby face in the eyes of the crowd, goes after Rusev, tries to take away that U.S. title, and maybe he's able to do so successfully. But that could be like your next program right there. And then as far as Sheamus goes, well, obviously because of the past relationship between Rusev and Sheamus, and then not to mention most folks probably wouldn't care about seeing that matchup. So that would just be a waste. Maybe instead you have Sheamus waiting in the wings. If he were to win the best of 7 series, maybe have him take on whoever the WWE Universal Champion may be. And when you just think about the way the current landscape of the pay-per-view, the way it ended up tonight, it actually makes a lot of sense when you just really stop and think about it. So think about it from those standpoints. But Sheamus picking up the victory over Cesaro to begin this best of 7 series. Want to take this time out, thank those of you that's checking this out right now. Make sure you retweeted, Google Plus said, all that good jazz when you get the opportunity. Let's talk about the actual pay-per-view card itself. Great production, by the way, from WWE. They do a fantastic job, as always. Definitely want to give them a nice, good nod. I mean, top freaking quality of a production set that they had. As, hey, New York crowd, I love New York. Love New York. Every opportunity that I get, I always make it my business to go out there and eating the good food, interacting with the good people, seeing some good shows. I always love it when I'm able to head on out there. And the crowd overall tonight, I would have to say New York represented. They represented strong. Loved them tremendously. Production wise though, just fantastic set. Fantastic. The Kevin Dunn production as always. When it comes to these big spectacle events, did a pretty superb job. First match of the night, we saw Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens. They defeated Enzo Amore and Big Cass. It was kind of funny because we saw Enzo cut like this, I don't know, it felt like almost a 10-minute promo, suck it up to New York. And I thought it was pretty awesome how Corey Graves came in right at the end and was like, Enzo isn't even from New York. He's from New Jersey. So, like, what the hell? So, I thought that was kind of like, yeah, what the hell? But, you get past all that little silliness that was going on. This was actually a pretty good opener to the SummerSlam card for the night. I felt Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens defeating Enzo Amore, Big Cass, he's coming along. Let me be honest for a brief second. He's coming along pretty well. I mean, the guy's got a great size, great freaking physique, no doubt about it. The talking on the mic, it's coming along. Still struggling just a little bit, but coming along. I'll definitely give him that. Enzo Amore just freaking oozes, man. I mean, he oozes big time. It's kind of amazing because Enzo Amore, he has like these nice, fun little social media references. He's able to reference songs from back in the day, and when I say back in the day, I mean 90s, early 2000s, and he connects so well with the fans. And then yet, in the same breath, you got Mauro Ranallo, who's basically doing like the same thing, and there are like so many people that like want to shit on him. And it's just kind of funny, like kicking back watching some of the comments that come into Mauro, because Mauro, like, he comes off as one of those type of individuals that can take constructive criticism very well. He's always active on social media. He may not always like reply directly, but he lets you know that he read your stuff because he's usually retweeting or he's favoriting it. But one thing that I notice with Mauro, like, if you come at him with a comment that like is just utterly stupid, he lets you know point blank he's blocking you. He does the hashtag Bye Felicia block party, hashtag block party. That's how he operates. And, you know, for people that's like, oh, I don't get some of the references that Mauro Ranallo makes. Like, and this is the first time that, like, I'm really noticing this because JBL, he would make his references. And usually when he would make his throwback references, as far as wrestlers of yesteryears, unique moves, what it reminded him of, what wrestler from back in the day, all that. And I rarely saw criticism for that. But with Mauro, it's like, you know, I can't help but kind of ask the people that are bitching and complaining, okay, so like, is it because you don't understand like what Mauro is talking about? Is it because he's bringing up something that you have no knowledge on and like you're frustrated because of that and you don't know what the hell he's talking about, and as a result, that's why in your eyes he sucks? Because here you are on your phone and you're doing everything else. You're tweeting, you're Google, and all that other jazz, that the reference that he makes, you don't know how to like, let me see what the hell he's talking about. I mean, nowadays, every single phone, and I love doing this on my phone in particular, when I'm not sure about something, I like pull up my little Google mic and I talk to Google and like, what is in deviled eggs? And I get the ingredients and all that coming right back at me. It's like, okay, so like, are you frustrated because you don't know what he's talking about? And because you don't know what he's talking about, like, that's what makes him stupid? So I just would like to understand, like, the mentality. And usually when I look up these people's profiles that's talking trash tomorrow about his throwback references and all that, that to them makes no sense. These are usually people that are young. When I say young, these are usually people that are under the age of 17 or 16. These are usually youngins, from what I'm able to gather. So I just think it's kind of weird. Just next time you're on social media and you actually follow Mauro Ranallo, just pay attention to his Twitter timeline. You don't have to be reading it like a hawk like that. But just like, you know, as you're reading friends' activity, tweets, and all that other, seeing what's happening with their timeline, just notice that. Put that in the back of your mind and notice the people that he's blocking. He's usually blocking people that are relatively young, that don't get a lot of his references, but I think the man does a good job. Lay the fuck off of Mauro Ranallo. That's pretty much the message that I'm sending to you guys. Charlotte, Sasha Banks, WWE's Women's Championship on the line. Dana Brooke barred from ringside. Solid matchup that we had got right here between these two respected girls. And we got some big news with regards to Sasha Banks we got to get to in just a second. Closing moments of this great women's singles match for the women's title. We had saw Charlotte sending Sasha into the ropes, as Sasha was able to bounce from off of the ropes and was able to use her momentum to basically connect with Charlotte in the form of a spinning hurricanrana, and then she was able to put Charlotte in the bank statement. And Charlotte managed to actually shift her weight to her advantage. She was able to basically use her weight to set up Sasha on her back with her elbows to the mat, her shoulders to the mat, is rather what I was trying to say. And the ref was able to count the 1, the 2, the 3. We have a new women's champion in Charlotte. Charlotte now a 2-time WWE women's champion. Great back and forth series that we had with these two girls. They tore it up. I loved it to the point I was actually a little bit shocked that this match was like so low on the card to basically get rolled out off the break. I wasn't expecting this to come a little bit until later on during the night, but I can't help but think about the phenomenal night that we had with NXT TakeOver and what we saw with Asuka and Bayley, and then we also got to think about Amber Moon. And the other girl that she had took on, her name sadly escapes me right now. It'll come back to me when I least expect it. That's just usually how it works. But great women's wrestling that was represented at NXT TakeOver. And then we follow that up with this phenomenal women's match for the women's title tonight. Just hats off. I tell you, the women's division is just really coming along very nicely. Very, very nicely. But we got some news with regards to Sasha Banks, because a lot of people were expecting Sasha Banks to retain the women's title, and some folks were kind of wondering like what exactly was going on with her. Like, is she injured or something? Because there was a critical moment that happened in the match where Sasha Banks and Charlotte were fighting in the turnbuckle, and I think Sasha Banks tried to like climb up on the top rope. She was trying to look for something as Charlotte and her were just continuing to fight, and then, long story short, Charlotte just basically grabbed her, I think, from underneath the leg and just yanked her, and she landed like, ooh, it was ugly, and it had you kind of go, what the hell just happened? Is she okay? But part of the storyline. But according to PW Insider, take this with a grain of salt, but usually their information is pretty on point. But according to PW Insider, the reason why Sasha Banks had dropped the women's title tonight to Charlotte is because apparently she's suffering from nagging injuries and she wants to take time off to rest up. Now, if you look, at one point, Sasha Banks was being advertised for a lot of events between now going all the way through to mid-late September. Now she's been removed from all upcoming events. Way it's looking right now, she's not going to be coming back until like the week of September 20th or some jazz like that. So, we kind of have those reports that's floating around. And then the other thing that we also need to consider too, just covering all bases. Like, everybody wants to report about the whole, she has nagging injuries. She has nagging injuries. I won't put 100% into the theory of nagging injuries. There's also that part of me that's kind of going, well, didn't she recently get married? Because I know there was some pictures that was floating around and all that, and she really didn't do like a proper honeymoon. But then again, when you're on the WWE payroll and you get to travel all over the world, like, it's like, that's a nice honeymoon in itself right there, especially the fact that you're doing it on WWE's dime and all that. But I don't know if I really want to take the whole injury thing. You know what I'm saying, guys? Like, I would just kind of look at that and take that as a grain of salt. I just kind of feel like maybe she wants to spend time with her new husband, get things in order, get the house in order before heading back out on the road again. And I mean, if that's what she wants to do, if that's her prerogative, so be it. I mean, who are we to judge? But I hate when this type of speculation is floating around. Hopefully Sasha will clear the air in the coming days, because I know there's been like reports before, Sasha's injured, Sasha's pregnant, and she's actually taken to social media and rebuked those rumors. So I would hope that, like, if there's no truth to what many of the wrestling sites are reporting, that she will rebuke those in a timely manner before it manifests, right? So, but again, way it's looking right now, she's definitely going to be off of the road for the next several weeks. It's just one of those things, when you really think about it, you go, okay, well, if she was dealing with nagging injuries and she just wanted a little bit of time to rest up, like, why couldn't WWE just have her retain the title and then just have her be off of programming for a couple of weeks? I mean, you could have easily done a nice little scenario where the next night on Monday Night Raw, you could have had, what's my girl's name? You could have had, help me out, Nia Jax. You could have had Nia Jax actually come into the ring, and she could have, like, just from out of nowhere. She don't need to talk to Sasha Banks. She could have just came from out of nowhere and just destroyed the hell out of Sasha Banks, and then you have Sasha Banks gone for a couple of weeks. And then, that's how you can sell it. You can just keep selling that. You can build upon that. And then at least that way, once X amount of weeks has gone by and it's time for Sasha Banks to return, you can pretty much just kind of resume what was going on right there between Nia Jax and Sasha Banks. So, I mean, if you really think about it, you think about the placement of Nia Jax, how they pretty much were setting her up since her debut on the main roster and all that, pretty much giving you the strongest impression. I mean, they blatantly put it out there that she's basically eyeballing the women's title. Like, why not have her jump Sasha the next night after SummerSlam? If all you wanted to do was have Sasha take a couple of weeks off so she could do whatever. So I definitely think there's a lot more to the current story that's being put out there. Hopefully the record will be set straight. Continuing on, a couple of more matches to talk about. We had Miz defend the Intercontinental title successfully against Apollo Crews. I was actually quite pleased with this matchup. I was actually quite pleased. It was definitely shy of 10 minutes, shy of 8 minutes. That's how short of a match it was. I told you guys earlier this week on the RCWR Show, I said one of the main things y'all need to be paying attention to is how well received Apollo Crews is to that New York crowd, because anytime WWE comes through with major pay-per-views to the New York area, the New Jersey area, the Pittsburgh area, anytime they come through those areas, those are really your biggest test, because if you can make it through those crowds, you can pretty much make it anywhere. And I told you guys, pay very close attention to the reactions that he gets from the New York crowd, because that's pretty much going to either make or break him. And it kind of saddens me a little bit, because Miz, gotta go with the Miz again, and he ain't off the hook right now either. I got a lot to say about Miz later on. If you guys remember the tweets I was putting out, you know exactly where I'll be going with that one. But Miz, I got to give him a lot of credit. He did as I expected he would do with Apollo Crews, which is do any and everything humanly possible to help try to get this young man over. Basically go in there, be like the ultimate douchebag, the ultimate asshole in this matchup. And when it comes to New York can kind of be a little bit bizarro land out there. Miz actually got a nice seasoned reception. It wasn't like a John Cena ovation or reaction or anything of that nature, but he did get like a pleasant, hey Miz, all right, what's up, man? It was kind of like a pleasant. With the Apollo Crews guy, it was more like, oh, hey, it's that guy that does the flips, has nice teeth. Yeah, he's okay. It was almost like it is this cringing vibe that Apollo Crews has been getting, that I've been noticing weeks and weeks and weeks since he's been up on the main roster right now, which is a lot of fans just can't quite put their finger on him. Like, they like his look, they like what he can do in the ring, but it's like they want to maybe come along for the ride, but they need like a hard sell. It's like, where's that fine print? It's, if I were to use a really good analogy, and this I think describes Apollo Crews perfectly. You guys out there, okay, because I see the age range of our audience and all that. It's mostly us guys, pretty much, 18 to 54 or something like that, all right? So I know there's a lot of you guys out there, respectfully, that have gone out there and you've tried to purchase a vehicle, right? So just imagine you're at a car dealership, you're looking for the right type of car. You're looking for that right type of car that's going to fit your budget, for one. And then you want the type of car that you feel most comfortable with, appearance-wise, has good mileage, has good horsepower, good brakes, all that jazz. And like the guy that is selling you the car, right? He's telling you pretty much every little thing that you want to hear. But the one thing that is missing is, I'm here at a used car dealership, and these cars are used. Show me the Carfax. you guys know that commercial with the little fox. Show me the Carfax. Let me see what's been going on with this car or whatever. So it's like you're missing that one little, you're sold otherwise, but it's like, okay, can I see the Carfax? And they don't have the Carfax. And so because they don't have the Carfax, you're playing Russian roulette. You're taking a serious gamble as far as whether or not you should fully invest in that car. Now, we could flip the script a little bit. It could be the same scenario, but you're at a car dealership looking for a brand new vehicle, right? But as you are in the office and you're getting ready to sign the dealership contract and all that, you're going over the paperwork, and you see in the fine print that basically everything that you had saw in that vehicle when you were being shown that vehicle on the showcase and you were testing it out on the road briefly and all that, now you're seeing in the fine print of your contract that apparently not all features will be provided to you. So now you're trying to figure out okay, what exactly does that mean? Are you going to be able to roll out of the car dealership with the car that has everything that you want, or is it going to be a case where certain features that you want in that vehicle is basically out of the hands of the car dealership, and you're going to have to like talk to a third party that's going to determine whether or not they will honor those features, or if you're going to have to like come out of your own pocket to get those features. I've seen many consumer reports, local news before, that like people were expecting one thing as far as amenities and all that, unique features and all that with their vehicle, and they didn't get that from the car dealership, and they're thinking the car dealership is at fault, when actually the way that the wording was in their contract, the car dealership folks is actually out of the clear. So with Apollo Crews, it's like, okay, great look, check. Great looking smile, check. Great moves, check. Charisma, connection with the fans, murky. Very murky right there. So until those two things can really come together, I don't really think the fans will ever get behind this young man. And tonight, like, really proved that. I'm hoping, though, that WWE does not lose faith just yet. I feel that they need to continue just a little bit longer, because I thought that the match they had tonight, it exceeded my expectations, even though it was about 5 minutes. It was actually a really decent match, to the point that I want to see these guys have more time to tell their story, because I think they have the foundation right now to set up a really good program that a lot of fans can definitely get behind. But at the same time, this isn't just a case where it needs to be about The Miz doing everything he can to get this young man over. I think at the same time, on the flip side to that coin, Apollo Crews definitely needs to show to you, the fans, he definitely needs to show to management and the bookers that he is deserving of being put in that time and being put in that position. Don't get me wrong, I see great potential in him as far as doing interviews, stopping by podcasts, radio shows, TV networks, and all that. But he just really needs to connect those last little couple of things, and then overall the picture will just be perfect. So I'm really pulling for him with this continued program with The Miz. No doubt these guys are not done, not by a long shot. We actually saw Maurice help out Miz, get a little bit of a distraction on Apollo Crews. Miz pretty much just squashed the hell out of Apollo Crews with the God dang it, I forgot the name of his skull crushing finale. Can't believe I almost forgot that. Skull crushing finale. Moving on to our next match. My favorite of the night. Definitely a match of the year candidate. And if you have been like checking out the show for a long period of time, then you guys like have a good idea of what I've been considering for WWE Match of the Year candidates thus far. And I think we can all be in agreement. You've been listening pretty much since the beginning of this year. I've got a pretty good list of matches right now. I gotta go with this, man. This is another Match of the Year candidate. AJ Styles, John Cena. Oh my God, one-on-one. This was a match that, like, I went into this, and you know the old saying, John Cena, he kind of comes off like the Hulkster, so to speak. You might defeat him once, but he's going to come right back, and he's either going to get 2 or 3 wins off of you. Maybe it's a case where, you get one, I get one, and then in the next one, I get that one. So it's going to go 2-1 my way, or it's going to go 3-1 my way. So that's usually the history of what we've been seeing with John Cena over the years. But this was a damn shocker that we had got as AJ Styles just soundly in the middle of the ring, by himself, no Bullet Club members or the club helping him. AJ Styles defeating John Cena by himself. By the way, I love the nod that we had got with the Bullet Club. I love seeing the backstage footage of AJ Styles, Carl Anderson, Doc Gallows. They all were chilling in the back talking about how they were going to go out there, do their thing, get those tag titles. AJ Styles talking about how he was going to go out there, handle his business with John Cena. And then we see Finn Balor. Fans finally get that nod that they have been wanting to see for the longest time, which is Finn Balor involved in some capacity with the club. And I would just imagine how much of a mark out moment the New York crowd had when they saw that via the Titantron. I know everybody watching at home had to been marking out, especially if they knew the history of those guys in New Japan and all that. So that was a really nice nod to see, as all of them threw up the too sweet hand gesture, and they're looking at Finn Balor trying to get him involved, and Finn Balor just he smiled and looked at him like, rain check, guys, rain check. And that was just okay, that was nice. That was a nice little nod they did right there. It was a nice cameo, nice little homage to the fans that have followed faithfully the careers of all four of those guys. AJ Styles, John Cena. I mean, great back and forth. We saw these guys just busting out everything and the kitchen sink in this damn match, man. I mean, we saw John Cena hit AJ Styles with an attitude adjustment. AJ, for the most part, every time early on in the match, it seemed like, even right to the middle of the match, every time John Cena was looking for that attitude adjustment, it seemed like AJ Styles managed to counter it. Do a little Pele kick, whatever. But there was actually two occasions where that attitude adjustment, from what I recall, it did connect, and AJ Styles was able to kick out. Now, on the flip side to that, we also saw AJ Styles in a situation where he hit John Cena with the Styles Clash. He hit him with the phenomenal forearm. John Cena kicked out of that. So, I mean, this was really a case where it was just going okay, this could really be anybody's freaking match. And the close near falls, I was loving it. I mean, this was a match just basically designed to really, really have you on the edge of your seats. It was that freaking good. It did not feel like AJ Styles was trying to limit himself to basically fit the style of John Cena. You know what I'm saying, guys? Over the course of the years, we've seen a lot of great athletes that have taken on John Cena that have basically downplayed themselves and their ability to basically accommodate John Cena. But John Cena, say what you will about the guy, and I've definitely had my fair criticism of the man over the years, but I would definitely have to say, within the past 4, maybe 5 years, John Cena has really been stepping it up big time as far as the quality of his matches, and I just think it's a travesty that he really does not get all of the props that he deserves, because yes, I'm actually defending John Cena for once. I know, right? But no, he really does not get his just due. I personally feel. I know that most of these matches that we have that comes about, it's pretty much a case where never is one person just by themselves doing it. They have a really good dance partner, but you're only as good as your dance partner, and then on top of that, you're only as good if you put in the same level of energy and commitment into that craft as the other opponent is on the other side. So both of these guys, I take my hats off to them. I tell you, man, John Cena just continues to surprise me. To the point that in a lot of ways I end up having newfound respect for him. And something that I was going to talk about earlier this week, but I'm definitely going to be talking about it more on this Tuesday show. And let me just say this, and this will kind of give you an idea of what I'm going to be talking about on Tuesday. Enjoy John Cena while you can. because quite honestly, I think it's going to be maybe a couple of decades before we see another guy like him. Now, you just marinate on that, and don't jump to conclusions and, oh, Lee, you John Cena. No, just really stop. If you are truly a wrestling fan, you appreciate wrestling from all promotions, you appreciate great talent from those that work hard, are diligent, put in the effort, just marinate on what I'm saying. And if you can't really connect the dots, that's fine. Tuesday night, I'll go a little bit more in depth about that. But AJ Styles coming in with the frickin', towards the end of the match, coming in with the frickin', he tried to go for the calf crusher. John Cena was able to get out of that bad boy. Then we saw a scenario occur where AJ Styles had managed to apply the Styles Clash on John Cena again. He was not satisfied at that point, though. He was like, no, because I don't want this guy getting up. No, I'm going to put the checkmate on this. And he actually went to the ropes, did the phenomenal forearm again, and right there in the middle of the ring was able to pick up the 1, the 2, the 3, and it was just like, what? It was like one of those type of moments. And post-matches where it was really, really interesting, which, by the way, AJ Styles getting a phenomenal, no pun intended, getting a freaking rock star ovation from the New York crowd. I mean, can you just really stop and think about that? I know we talked about NXT last night, and for those of you that didn't check out the NXT Takeover after show, go scoop that up when you guys get done listening to this one, because I know it threw a lot of people off guard, because, I mean, let alone, it was on a Saturday night. Most people were already busy having other commitments and all that on Saturday. So, but no, I think about the NXT TakeOver event. Samoa Joe, Austin Aries, Bobby Roode, and then I look at AJ Styles and it's like, man, these TNA guys, these former TNA guys, they just have really done very well for themselves. And like I said last night, probably the one argument many of us could make that have followed these guys' careers for many years now is that, man, if only these guys would have came to the company just a little bit sooner. It's better late than ever, right? But just to see these guys get the spotlight, get the attention, get the fan admiration, get everything that is in their due, right? The respect. That's what it's all about, the respect. Just to see them get that on the biggest platform of them all being the WWE, it's you just can't help but be all right, guys, and I'm sure for AJ Styles, who's been with the company now for about 6 months, give or take, I'm sure for him coming out, WrestleMania may have been something, but for him to come out and see the great sold-out crowd at the Barclays Center, I'm sure he probably was God damn, so this what a real crowd looks like, I'm sure he was probably saying that shit to himself, man. Post-match, very interesting. We saw John Cena just pouting in the middle of the ring, sitting there. Can't believe he lost. Saw him do something that was a little bit symbolic. He actually took off one of his Never Give Up wristbands, placed it in the middle of the ring. Great ovation from the crowd. They gave him his props for a crowd that was saying John Cena sucks. I mean, passionately. Halfway through the match, I mean, they were really laying it in to John Cena. It wasn't a case where it's oh, John Cena sucks. No. They were really letting John Cena have it. But even they, softened up on him and gave him props. And I couldn't help it when I looked at that. If you saw some of the tweets I had put out, as soon as I saw him leave his little wristband in the middle of the ring, it just reminded me of that classic issue of Spider-Man, Spider-Man No More. And I don't know how many of you guys remember that issue, But basically, it was an issue of The Amazing Spider-Man, where Peter Parker had decided that he was done being Spider-Man, because no matter what good he would do, no matter what he tried to do for the better of humanity, just to be a good guy, no matter what kind acts he would do to help out New York City, he was always being looked upon as the bad guy. So as far as he was concerned, he just said bump it, and he quit being Spider-Man. He actually had put his costume in a trash can, and there's like an infamous comic page panel where you see that, and it's been replicated so many times in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, in video games, you name it. But it's such a monumental scene. It was a very historic issue when that came about. Good luck finding that one, because you're gonna have to pay a pretty penny for that issue. But that's what John Cena just walking away, leaving that wristband in the middle of the ring, had reminded me of. It was like, oh, okay, so we're going there. All right, I see what's going on. Gets a little bit of speculation going, kind of makes you wonder, like, what exactly is going to be next for John Cena. It says never give up. That was pretty symbolic. So, you kind of can't help but wonder, like, is John Cena now going to come out on SmackDown and say to AJ Styles, hey, you proved that you were the better man. I got to give you your props. Or, I know once again we're going to have some folks that's like, hey, are we now going to see John Cena go heel? It's just, don't read too much more into it. Wait till SmackDown. It's going to be live in a couple of days. Just patience, my pretty babies. Patience. Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson defeated. Yeah, they did. It was via disqualification. Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, they defeated New Day's Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. Jon Stewart was involved in this. I really could care less about Jon Stewart. I mean, that's great. He's a WWE fan and all that, but, the crowd, like, I don't get it. WWE, they go, oh, yeah, they like him. He's getting a reaction. It's like, no, there's a difference between getting a reaction and then someone just plain sucking. And honestly, like, the fans they don't care about Jon Stewart. They just don't. Just like they don't care for freaking Dennis Miller when he hosted WWE Raw, But no, all seriousness, all joking, put to the side and all that. I really hope they stop working with Jon Stewart, at least in this capacity, where they're giving him these key roles at these pay-per-views. Just stop already. Just stop it, please. But we did see Big E Langston return. Remember, I did offer that as a prediction. If I was booking it, I did say I would have Big E maybe get involved. But I had part of that right. I said I would probably have Big E get involved, try to help his New Day brothers retain the titles. Now, if you want to be technical, I actually did get that right. Big E Langston, he came down and he just actually attacked Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows right when they were getting ready to give a case of ring postitis to Jon Stewart. Short match, under 10 minutes that we had going on right here. Glad that Big E is back. I gotta say, it just looked really, really weird seeing him without seeing him not with the other New Day guys is what I was trying to say. Dolph Ziggler, Dean Ambrose, WWE World Championship match. Now, I had a couple of people. I said, look, this was a very anticlimactic finish that we got with this matchup. Because when it was all said and done, we saw Dolph Ziggler, he was doing his trademark signature moves and all that. Dean Ambrose able to kick out. Dean Ambrose does a dirty deeds to Dolph Ziggler from the top turnbuckle, as both of them were fighting from that standpoint, and Dean Ambrose just wham, dirty deeds. And it wasn't like, oh my God, that was a super, it wasn't anything like that. And the way the commentators were talking, it wasn't like, it just really felt like the match had an awkward, abrupt end. That's how it felt. So, we had some people, and I said this on Twitter, I said a very anticlimactic finish, and, we had some people, I thought the match was great. I thought the match was fantastic. Why Dolph Ziggler have to kick out of Dean Ambrose dirty deeds? And it's like, well, gee, let's really think about it. Let's look at some of the other matches that we had earlier in this night. Let's look at the track record that WWE has had in previous high-profile pay-per-view matches. There's always been some type of kick out, on the finisher or signature move, unless otherwise. We have seen WWE time and time again lay down a foundation of some really good, strong matches, just formula-wise, with regards to the storytelling. The nice start, the nice build up to the middle, and then, all right, let's send everybody home. We're going to go out strong. Just go back and really watch that match. I'm not saying the match was bad. All I'm saying is, for everything that Dolph Ziggler was putting out there to Dean Ambrose, and Dean Ambrose was just basically kind of coming off like a fucking super mutant from Fallout 4, right? I mean, he was almost practically immune to everything. And then, Dean Ambrose just, dirty deeds, I'm done. And it was just 1, 2. It was just so anticlimactic, right? If you could have done a nice, bigger, stronger sequence in setting up Dean Ambrose doing that dirty deeds, I think that would have really played out better. It really did just come off very awkward, just well, damn, that was kind of weird. You couldn't help but go, is Dean okay? Is Dolph okay? Did somebody have some type of injury and maybe they couldn't continue? What the hell was going on right there? I would not be that surprised if maybe in the coming days we hear a little bit more information with regards to this matchup. But I was really pulling for Dolph Ziggler. I really, really was, especially after that cringing interview that Dean Ambrose gave. He's calling himself the lunatic. I'm gonna start calling him the lunatic cringe. That's what I'm gonna start calling his ass. I just really thought that was just one of the most awkward. Oh my God! I just was like, take the belt off of this guy, please. And I'm reminded of something, and it happened at SummerSlam tonight. I don't think Dolph Ziggler is going to be a WWE champion no time soon. I think the only way Dolph Ziggler is going to be a world heavyweight champion again, it's going to be outside of WWE. What is Dolph Ziggler doing in the Impact Zone? I think it's going to be one of those type of cases, because let me tell you something. I never thought, and we actually saw this tonight at SummerSlam, I never thought I'd see the day where my two favorite guys, who I have said on this show for years, I've always expected them to be multi-time world heavyweight champions, Dolph Ziggler and The Miz. I never thought I'd see the day where they would do a lame-ass commercial for Kentucky Fried Chicken. And this, it wasn't just, oh, I'm WWE superstar The Miz, and I'm WWE superstar Dolph Ziggler. Eating good food is really hard to do in our line of work because we're always on the go, but our delicacy of choice, and it's a guilty pleasure. We love KFC, don't we, Dolph? Oh, yes, it's so finger-licking good. And let me tell you, folks, right now they've got, it wasn't one of those type of deals. We see the fucking Miz in a chicken outfit. It really kind of came off like the classic Saturday Night Live Phil Hartman in the Clucking Chicken. You guys remember that one? The Clucking Chicken. Something's always going on at the Clucking Chicken. Hey, Clucky, why do you taste so good? You can look that up. You guys will have a hysterical laugh over that one if you see it. But, we see Miz in this ridiculous outfit. But then, you're trying to justify it. I know I couldn't help but kind of justify it. I'm like, okay, well, The Miz is always, trying to increase his resume. He's doing the bad, crappy B, C-rated movies. He's doing the silly little commercials or whatever. But this just looked so freaking bad. I'm going, wait a minute now. This guy is an Intercontinental champion right now. And here he is in a chicken outfit, talking about some damn KFC. And then Dolph Ziggler dressed as Colonel Sanders. That was the most stupidest fucking commercial I ever saw in my entire life. To the point, it just really made me feel like the marketing representatives that came up with this damn commercial, they did not think, if we go this route, wouldn't this kind of diminish, kind of devalue these guys storyline wise to the fans? It's almost like, fuck what the fans say. Let's just go ahead and go with it. It's funny, it's hilarious, it's going to get people talking. And although it may warrant a couple of chuckles from some people, folks that know what these guys are really see, let's nip this in the bud. We didn't see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson doing this. We didn't see Stone Cold Steve Austin doing this. I mean, can you just imagine that for a second? At the height of the Attitude Era, could you just imagine Stone Cold Steve Austin in a goddamn chicken outfit? Hey there, little boy. Come here a little second here. Stone Cold Chicken needs to tell you, when you hungry, you come on down to Stone Chicken and you can get you some real good chicken. I mean, can you imagine that? And then Triple H dressed up as Colonel Sanders. Can you just imagine? You know why that wouldn't have happened? Because they are like the fucking faces of the company. They are bringing in the money. They are the top merchandise pushers. These are precious commodities that need to be represented and handled well by WWE booking, management, PR team, all that. So you would have never seen that shit happen. Now, Mick Foley. Now, we did see Mick Foley at the height of his success in the WWE. And also when he went the more happier route of Mankind with the white t-shirt and the tie, we saw him do SpaghettiOs commercials. Now, I didn't have a problem with that because it wasn't the psycho Mankind that was pulling his freaking hair out and just those riveting freaking promos where he butchered the hell out of Jim Ross, set his ass on fire or whatever. And it wasn't that Mankind that we had got. So it's just, I'm speechless right now with what I saw tonight. I just couldn't help but kind of go, that's really fucked up. That's just really fucked up. It just says to me that no matter how much passion and conviction that I may have about wanting to see Dolph Ziggler and Miz be world heavyweight champions. I know there's a lot of other people out there that's in the same boat I'm in that want to see these guys do better. They want to see these guys in those main event positions. When you see shit that what we got tonight, you're just kind of reminded, keep on dreaming, because it's not going to happen. Now, if it happens down the road, boy, we're going to have one hell of a fun story to talk about and all have a good chuckle together, because we're going to be like, hey, remember when Miz and Dolph Ziggler did that KFC commercial? Enough said right there. A couple more matches to talk about. We saw a 6-woman tag team match. Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch Carmella. They took on the team of... Did I say that right? Let me back up a second. We saw the team of Becky Lynch, Naomi, and Carmella take on the team of Alexa Bliss, Natalya, and as we all know, Eva Marie. She actually was suspended for violating the WWE wellness policy. I have not yet talked about this. I'm not going to be talking about it here tonight because tonight just needs to be about SummerSlam. But I will offer my in-depth takeaway on this news this Tuesday night on the RCWR Show. You can catch that 10 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker.com. That is when we'll be live. It'll also be available as a on-demand podcast on various platforms. All the links you need will be provided in the episode that you're checking out right now. But Eva Marie, she is out for 30 days. I thought it was kind of... It gave me a chuckle to hear Eva Marie's little narrator guy for her entrance come on out there and talk about how she's basically out. She feels disrespected by the fans, so she's taking a well-deserved break. She's overseas in some country or whatever the hell she was at. You're like, okay, so WWE kind of wants to go that route. Okay, that's whatever, dude, whatever. Like, just bleh, that's all I gotta say. Whatever. So in her place, we saw the returning Nikki Bella. Nikki Bella getting a decent reaction from the crowd, but aside from that reaction, New York crowd could like not give a flying fuck about this match. Now they may have called this a 6-woman tag match. This was actually a Divas match. That's just really how it came off. David Otunga, I got a little bit of a bone to pick with you. I don't know if it was just you trying to be creative, spot on, or if it was a situation where you were being fed your lines. But I thought it was kind of weird, dude, that you went, well, I don't understand why Nikki Bella would team up with Natalya. And you're hearing this and you're kind of going, can't we just get lost in the moment that Nikki Bella is back? And like, you hear the other commentators, you know, they're trying to like, because they realize David Otunga, like, is kind of messing up right there. And then David Otunga has to kind of like take a back step later on, and he goes, oh, well, you know, maybe because Nikki Bella and Natalya, you know, they go way back, you know, they're good friends and everything. It's like, okay, so David, you just answered your own question. Like, it really should have been Morrow or JBL to come right back and be like, well, why wouldn't Nikki team up with them? You know, look, you got to go back to. So I just thought that it was so like, I just did a face palm as soon as I heard David say that. And look, I'm not bashing David Otunga on commentating. He has a lot of potential. He has a lot of potential. I gave him nothing but praise when I found out that he was going to be joining the SmackDown color commentating team. And I'm still behind the guy. I know he's probably not getting a lot of love from the fans right now, but I'm sticking my guns to him. Honestly, don't overanalyze stuff when you're trying to find the... I don't know, I'm just really led to the impression that was him being spontaneous, that he was not being fed any lines, and almost to the point that poor Byron Saxton, he had a line where something about earlier, going back to that Cesaro Sheamus match, I think Michael Cole had said, like, could you just imagine what would happen if this match had ended in a draw, as good as it is? Can you just imagine what happened if it ended in a draw, like both of these guys get counted out or whatever? And then Byron Saxton's like, oh, so I guess they would just do like a best of 6 then, and both of the guys, they were like, yeah, that mathematically that's like not possible. And Byron's like, yeah, I just realized that when I was doing the math in my head. And poor Byron was just getting ripped on for the rest of the night, you know. But no, this match, this Divas match is what I'm calling it. it was a pretty boring match. Carmella still not connecting well with the crowd. And this was a travesty for Carmella as far as I was concerned, because Homegirl, the way that she's dubbed and all that, I mean, let's back up. She was born and raised in Worcester, Massachusetts. Currently, she resides in Orlando, Florida. Now, the way her character is kind of gimmicked, you're like, she's from the New York, New Jersey area. So it's kind of like, well, maybe she'll get a little bit of love. Okay. But, like, she got no reactions from the crowd. The only reactions, moderately, Becky Lynch, for sure. She moderately got a reaction. But frickin' Nikki Bella, I mean, she pretty much, like, she got her pop, her decent pop, but nobody gave a crap about this match afterwards. Great to see that Nikki is back. She was out on a serious injury. They basically operated on her neck and all that, and honestly, I have no problem with her being back in the form of these tag matches. I always knew we were going to see her again, because she just always kind of came off as a type of individual that, like, if given the opportunity, they can come back, and they can come back at 100%. Hey, look, that's not how I want to end my career. I want to go out on a high note. And I know probably a lot of people are going to be questioning, like, if it's really a smart move for her to be coming back, given the severity of that injury that she had several months back. Only time will tell. But I'm not going to be ripping into Nikki Bella like other guys do it. I'm not going to go there just yet. I think for tonight only, enjoy the feel-good moment. And then tomorrow night, 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, then we can revisit Nikki Bella's placement on the card. All right? So tonight only, I'm giving Nikki Bella a pass. I've been pretty... I've given her just due, but then at the same time, I also recognize better talent when I see it. But tonight only, she held her own. I'll give her that. A little bit of moves that she did. All right, she's healthy. That's nice. Good for you, girl. Keep it going. By the way, that Divas match, there was a stupid little spot that just was like, why would they do this? At one point in the match, we actually saw Alexa Bliss, Natalya, and Nikki Bella. They all were sandwiched in between in the corner of a turnbuckle. And we see Becky Lynch, she steps up on the middle rope and does this step up side kick to the girls. So one girl goes down, and then she does the same thing to the next girl, and then the next girl. You would think that upon doing the move to the first girl, the second girl would move the fuck out the way, as well as the third. Or you would think that if she's able to move so fast and she connects on the first two girls, the third girl, she knows what's coming, she gets the fuck out of the way. I mean, it was like an eternity when you see these girls just waiting for the move to come to them. I just thought that was the most dumbest move. It was seriously, a silly move, man. Finn Balor taking on Seth Rollins. This was a pinfall and submission only match to determine the first ever WWE Universal Champion. Finn Balor having a fantastic grand entrance as the Demon. A lot of people were pulling for Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins getting one hell of an ovation from the crowd tonight. I heard a lot of people being very vocal about Finn Balor. A lot of WWE legends being very vocal about Finn Balor. Ric Flair being one of those guys. As far as, he's not champion material. He's too small. He's like a cruiserweight type of guy. Ric Flair even going as far as to blast Finn Balor, or guys like Finn Balor on social media, saying anybody can be a world champion. I can't remember the image, but I think it was an image of a little kid holding on to a world heavyweight title or something like that. That's how Ric Flair was trying to basically compare Finn Balor as far as the odds of him being a champion and all that jazz. Just far as he was concerned, not really legitimate. But Finn Balor, shocking us all tonight. Talk about the power of WWE booking right here. You can't help but wonder, like, who was behind this call? Finn Balor defeating Seth Rollins to become the first ever WWE Universal Champion. Great match out of the whole card. I'd have to say this was probably my third favorite match of the night. I'm curious to learn, like, in the coming days, like, if Triple H, Vince McMahon, if maybe they might have clashed a little bit on the finish to this, like as far as who needed to win this. You know, like I'm really curious. Like, now don't get me wrong. On the one hand, you're looking at things from the Seth Rollins standpoint. Seth Rollins winning, like, okay, say Seth Rollins wins the WWE title. First off, rewind a little bit. We all saw how things were when Seth Rollins was the WWE champion, and he was the WWE champion for like X amount of days. Need I remind you all how the ratings had struggled while Seth Rollins was the WWE champion? Need I remind you how when you looked at the quarter segment breakdowns, Seth Rollins' segments while he was the WWE champion were some of the most lowest rated segments? Some would even make the argument that with Seth Rollins as the WWE champion for that respected time, bringing in those low segments was the lowest rated segments for any WWE World Heavyweight Champion. So you're just thinking about all of those things that I just mentioned. And then you're like, oh, well, Seth Rollins, you know. I mean, honestly, when I offered predictions, I felt that WWE was probably going to go in the direction of Seth Rollins from the standpoint of how awesome would that be just from the egotistical standpoint, just from the jackass, heelish standpoint. You could have Seth Rollins go out there and it'd be no different than Chris Jericho constantly reminding folks of, hey, I was the first ever WWE Undisputed Champion. You know how many times we hear that? Like, we know his lines verbatim. And there was a part of me that was kind of thinking maybe he could go down that route. But then also at the same time, now he has like this big bullseye on his back. And as far as like the potential rivalries of folks that he could possibly be facing for the title, I mean, if you set it up properly, you probably could have had Big Cass in the picture. You probably could have gone the route of Big E. Maybe you could have gone the route of Kofi. Hell, you might have, under the right circumstances, you might have even been able to go Xavier Woods route. You definitely could have gone the Cesaro route. Finn Balor, you know, both of those guys could have just continued to feud over the title. So, I mean, there's a lot of interesting matchups that you definitely could have done with regards to Seth Rollins being the WWE champion. But honestly, we're still in the period of summer. You should know the pattern of WWE by now. Summertime comes, they like experimenting. And it's pretty much like, okay, touch and go. What's working? What's not working? You know, is this going? You know, does it have the fans talking? You know, are they excited for this? Well, what's going on with the quarterly segments? Now, those of you that's like, ratings don't matter. The ratings don't mean anything. Look. SmackDown moved live to Tuesday nights for a reason. It was because the USA Network was really becoming very concerned about the piss poor ratings that they were getting for the show when it was on Thursday nights. and it was taped nonetheless. They weren't liking that. They felt that they weren't getting their money's worth in what they were investing in WWE weekly television. So ultimately, that is why SmackDown moved live to Tuesday nights. All right? So, you just think about those things that I'm mentioning, and you think about Seth Rollins as a WWE champion before with everything that I just laid out, and we're in summer right now. WWE notorious for trying new shit, seeing if it works. Honestly, if you have ever been a fan of Finn Balor, you need to be representing right now. If this was a direction that took you by surprise, and you're a big fan of his, even more the reason why, now that he's the WWE Universal Champion, you need to represent. When he has his segments, represent. When he has his freaking pay-per-view matches and all that, represent. Because WWE is going to be paying attention. How much merchandise is being pushed? How many tickets are being sold at the gate? They're going to be paying attention to how those superstars are doing when they have those autograph signings and all that. They're going to be looking at all of that, and they're going to know very quickly whether or not this is an experiment that they need to continue to stick to. So I'm fine with Finn Balor becoming the WWE Universal Champion. I'm fine with that. I have no problem with it whatsoever. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. I have been respectfully a big fan of Finn Balor long before he even came into the WWE. I was familiar with this guy's work when he was Prince Devitt. And I always used to talk to my inner circle of friends. I always used to say to them, if WWE ever got the opportunity to sign this guy, it freaking needs to happen. It would be fucking awesome if they were able to sign him. And just the caliber of work. I mean, he is a great piece of talent. Make no mistake about it. I know we're probably going to have some people that's going to be like, is it too soon? I get tired of hearing that bullshit line, too soon. As far as I'm concerned now, I just started developing a new philosophy as of late, which is shit happens. Things can happen in your life unexpectedly. You have to adjust accordingly. For all of the great success that Finn Balor had on the NXT brand, honestly, it's now time for that success to translate over to the main roster. I'm curious in the coming days who was behind pulling the trigger on Finn Balor becoming the Universal Champion. It would not surprise me if Triple H really, really went to bat for him and trying to get him to go over. I think this is going to be a case right now where, and you also need to consider all of the elements that took place at the NXT TakeOver. I mean, you got Nakamura holding on to the NXT World title. And now, here we have fucking Finn Balor as the WWE Universal Champion. It should be pretty obvious if you are a fan of multiple wrestling promotions, independent wrestling promotions. It should be pretty obvious to you what WWE is trying to do. They realize the caliber of talent that they have, and they're trying to put these guys in a really good limelight in hopes that it creates a lot of media buzz. It makes WWE come off a little bit more like a legit pro wrestling company. I see them doing things where, they're trying to brush off the, we're World Wrestling Entertainment, but we still give a damn about wrestling. And I think WWE is really realizing that with the great success that they've had with the CWC and NXT, they're now in a situation where they're kind of going, okay, so a majority of our fans, they're kind of like, okay, well, we kind of like got to give them a little bit of a nod then, because, you know, if that's how they feel, then okay, well let's kind of go their way. Not everybody is gonna like everything that the WWE does. There's always going to be people that's going to bitch and moan. You can never please everybody. But I would like to think that with the moves that WWE has done recently, and then just seeing with what they did tonight with Finn Balor, they're giving this young man the opportunity. They have faith. And, you know, if they're going to give him the opportunity and they have faith in him, then I think we as fans that respect the WWE, and I'll go a step further than that, those of us that respect the work of a guy like Finn Balor and everything that he's accomplished leading up to now, I think we need to continue to definitely give that support. Because let me tell you, in closing, it definitely opens up more windows, more doors of opportunity for some of our favorite guys that, like, you know, we have our fingers crossed. And like Amber Moon is a good example. I talked about it on NXT TakeOver. I've been following her career since she was Athena, doing her thing in WSU and Shimmer. I always felt that girl should have been signed with the WWE. And, you know, if you would have told me 10 years ago, and again, not knowing anything about the WWE Network, CWC, and all that, if you would have told me 10 years ago that she would finally make it, she'd finally get into the WWE, she'd be part of the NXT subdivision, I'd be like, that's bullshit. Like, you know, because WWE for the longest time, it's like they didn't want to go in the direction of the internet darlings, as it was called, because they had that independent wrestling funk on them. They wanted their own homegrown talent. They were notorious for that. So for their mindset, for their philosophy to have evolved the way that it's evolved over the years, I gotta give them a lot of props. Again, some of y'all may not like that, but they got my support. How many more matches we got? I think we got 2 more matches to talk about on that note. Rusev, Roman Reigns, match didn't occur. Rusev pretty much got the shit beat out of him by Roman Reigns. Roman just, man, he had a serious chip on his fucking shoulders, man. He just went out there and he was just going belligerent. I mean, that match never saw any start. Didn't get a proper start. Bunch of referees came out. Bunch of officials came out trying to detain Roman Reigns, trying to separate Reigns from Rusev. Match didn't happen. Enough said. Match didn't happen. So I guess on another night. And you know what? This was decent booking by the WWE because, I mean, when it's all said and done, well, how are these guys supposed to know exactly what type of a reaction Roman Reigns is going to be getting? Like, ever since it was announced weeks back that Roman Reigns pretty much was, like, coming after Rusev and that United States title, like, I would say it's been 50-50. Like, you got fans that, like, they're for it, and then you got fans that's, like, not for it. And it's like, I don't know what WWE can do right now. I still say, stay the course. Stay the course. I have nothing wrong with the placement of Roman Reigns right now going after the U.S. champion. But I just think it's really interesting that the fans, like, again, this is a case where you cannot please everybody. I like what's been happening with Rusev, Roman Reigns. It's got me pretty excited to see, like, what is the next set of circumstances that's going to happen with these guys on Monday Night Raw, coming up in less than 24 hours. Main event match, Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton. A little bit over 10 minutes of sweet bliss and sweat and blood. We pretty much saw, to sum up this match, because it was literally all that we had got. I mean, you should know by now, any match that involves Brock Lesnar, it's going to culminate in a series of fucking German suplexes. Brock Lesnar, 7 to 8 German suplexes on Randy Orton. Pretty much manhandling him. Sent him crashing through one announcer's table. Brock Lesnar was getting ready to go for another announcer's table. Had Randy Orton set up and everything before he can even connect. Randy Orton out of nowhere with a RKO. And just like that, momentum has swinged in favor of Randy Orton. Wouldn't last for long. We actually I didn't catch it because it happened so fast, but somehow as Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton were continuing to brawl, Randy Orton's head actually got busted open. I'm assuming it got busted open. If not, I won't even say inadvertently. I think that was just a case of a bad blade job. I hope WWE doesn't get fined for that, because I know nowadays, like, the blood spilling and all that, it's kind of like a big no-no. I hope Randy Orton and them got that clear, because if they didn't, it is what it is. But Randy Orton just oozing out crimson red, just crimson all over the fucking place, man. I just was like, woo! Brock Lesnar just going in, standing in the corner as EMTs, they try to work on Randy Orton's head. Brock Lesnar just comes right back, knocks them off, and he just continues to just pound onto the head of Randy Orton. Fans chanting Goldberg. A lot of folks were anticipating Goldberg. I'll talk more about this whole Brock Lesnar Goldberg 2. Because, I got a lot to say with regards to that. And some of what I say, it might surprise you. But then those of you that remember when these guys first took each other on many years back may not surprise you. So I'm going to hold off on this whole Brock Lesnar Goldberg ordeal until Tuesday night. But no Goldberg, just to get that out the air. No Goldberg showed up tonight. Fans may be onto something, I don't know. We saw this match eventually get thrown out in favor of Brock Lesnar, which was a little bit of a shocker to me, because it really just should have been a no contest given the circumstances that happened with Orton. Basically, Orton not really able to compete, but Brock Lesnar picking up the win via TKO is basically how they did it. So they kind of went UFC there, so to speak. But that is not where it ended. We saw Shane McMahon. He tried to come down to the ring, check up on Orton. Brock Lesnar was not having that. Shane McMahon kept telling Brock, look, I just want to get to my guy. Let me get to my guy. Come on, let me get to my guy. And Brock Lesnar stopped him about 3 times. Finally just put him up over his shoulders, put him in an F5. That pretty much had ended SummerSlam. So one thing I will say, if they're going to go in the direction of Brock Lesnar, Bill Goldberg, Part 2, first things first, storyline-wise, if it was me just creatively setting things up, I would have Shane McMahon address the whole Brock Lesnar attacking him on this week's SmackDown, and pretty much say, look, I'm putting an invitation out there. I would actually like to talk to Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman on Monday Night Raw. So Raw GM, Stephanie McMahon, if you are listening, please get in contact with me. Let me know if maybe we can try to set something up. Of course, you all, for any developments, just stay connected to our website and through our social media. Hopefully we can make this happen. I promise, Steph, Mick, I'll be very cordial. I'm not coming for a fight or anything. So, basically, if they could maybe let like a couple of weeks go by where they're kind of playing cat and mouse with regards to Shane McMahon's request, then they finally do it. Stephanie and them, they could be like, you sure you want to go through with this? You sure you want to? And Shane's like, yeah, look, I just want to apology. That's all I really want. I don't want nothing more. I don't want nothing less. I just want for Brock Lesnar to apologize for attacking me, because, he had no business putting his hands on a authority figure. We were not licensed to have a match of any type. I could have gone to the board and there could have been serious ramifications bestowed upon Brock Lesnar as a result of putting his hands on me. That's the route storyline-wise. If I was setting it all up, that's the route that I would go. And so I could see a scenario where Brock Lesnar is confronted by Stephanie McMahon and Mick Foley, like through his advocate Paul Heyman. You know, they're basically saying, look, you got to do what you can, talk to your client, you know, we got to get this apology and all that. I could see a scenario happening where Brock Lesnar doesn't show up because he feels that Shane McMahon is beneath him, and instead Paul Heyman is the one to advocate, as always, for Brock Lesnar. He's talking to Shane. Shane, you know, is like, no disrespect, Paul, but I wanted Brock. You know, where's Brock? And, you know, we could basically see some type of a scenario occur where Shane maybe he loses his cool because, you know, Brock Lesnar isn't there. And maybe he kind of pulls the man card, you know, basically calls Brock Lesnar a punk bitch or some jazz like that. I actually like that. I could see some type of a scenario coming about where Shane pretty much goes, look, if Brock isn't here, I'll give you till next week. If Brock isn't here, then, you know, I will take legal action. I will take some type of ramification on your client, you know, and unlike the UFC, what I plan on doing to Brock, it'll be much more severe to him financially. I can see some type of interesting blackmail like that. And basically, when Brock does get confronted by Shane McMahon, you know, when they do have that confrontation once again, I could see a scenario coming about where Brock Lesnar, like, doesn't give a shit about ramifications or whatever. And I could see Brock just losing his cool, F5 and Shane McMahon again, and pretty much a match is set up between Shane and Brock, an unsanctioned match. Remember, this is something that I was talking about some months back as far as match ideas for Brock Lesnar. So you could definitely go down that route potentially. Now, as far as when that match could happen respectfully. So SummerSlam's already in the books. We know SmackDown is going to have their Backlash pay-per-view. That's going to be on September 11th. And then I believe WWE Raw is going to do maybe Clash of Champions. Or maybe that's going to be a joint pay-per-view. I would like to think that's going to be a joint pay-per-view. I would think WWE No Mercy on October 9th. I would like to think that's going to be a Raw event. But I am eyeballing October 30th, WWE Hell in a Cell, TD Garden, Boston, Massachusetts. If they set this up just right, and there's enough time to tell the story, I could see, remember this night, I could see Shane McMahon taking on Brock Lesnar. It could be a Hell in a Cell match. Yeah, there's your main event. It could be a Hell in a Cell match between those two guys. But I would definitely have Brock Lesnar just decimate the hell out of Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon still being freaking hell-bent, wanting to get revenge on Brock Lesnar. And it could basically culminate, I would have to say, let Shane McMahon be out. See, you got October, and then pretty much you got the major holidays coming up. Honestly, I would not have Shane McMahon return to television again until late December, because the Royal Rumble date for next year, it hasn't been determined just yet. We know it's going to happen in January, but we don't know exactly the date. But basically, when it's all said and done, I would have Shane McMahon like try to confront Brock Lesnar one more time, confront him at the Royal Rumble, and then maybe you could have Goldberg then get into the picture, get in the face of Brock Lesnar, and there could be some type of a scenario set up where under secrecy, Shane McMahon along with the approval from Daniel Bryan, they went out and got in contact with Brock Lesnar, and they pretty much had signed him to an exclusive deal that basically he would be the counter to Brock Lesnar. One of the main reasons why we probably didn't see Goldberg tonight is due to the fact that Goldberg said recently in a series of interviews that he had surgery on his knees done about 6 weeks ago. So he's nowhere near 100% just yet. But if you had saw him at the WWE 2K press conference from over the weekend, there was a part in the interview where he lifted up his shirt, and I mean he's got the abs. I mean he's definitely been doing a good job staying in shape. He looks phenomenal for the age of 49, but those knees need a lot more time to heal up and all that. So honestly, if I was laying it out storyline wise, that is how I would just lay it all out. Now, as far as whether or not do we really need to see Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar 2, I'll talk about that on Tuesday night. But overall, SummerSlam, I'd have to say it was pretty good. I thought it was a decent overall event. I definitely want to give you guys a lot of love. Shout out to Risa, who said she was listening to the recap before she called it a night. I want to get to the polls that we put out. There was 2 polls we put out. So we asked you all overall, how would you rate tonight's WWE SummerSlam? 78 votes in right now. I'm going to have this poll remain open for an additional 2 days. So feel free to cast your vote if you haven't done so already. It is on our Twitter page at the RCWR Show. 14% of you felt that it was a average pay-per-view. 15% of you thought that it was a fantastic pay-per-view. I put the option there because I gotta make sure I play it fair. 33% of you felt that it was a bad pay-per-view. I wish those that would have selected bad pay-per-view would have said why they felt that it was a bad pay-per-view. Meanwhile, overwhelming, and just by a small margin, 38% of you thought it was okay. 38% of you thought that SummerSlam was okay, but that TakeOver was better. And I think there was one more poll we had put out. I'm trying to see. No, I don't think I did put it out. There was another poll I was supposed to put out. I was going to ask you guys what was the match of the night. And sadly, I didn't put that out. I'll try to see if I can maybe put that out before. I wonder if I should put that out. Yeah, I'll put it out as soon as the show is over. All right, so that is going to do it. So your next edition of the RCWR Show is going to be coming at you this Tuesday night, August 23rd, 2016, 10 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker.com. Make sure you check that out. Remember to follow me on Twitter at the RCWR Show, Facebook as well at the RCWR Show. Make sure you like the show and all of that. Feel free to donate if you if you can. Appreciate it. Patreon.com/RCWR Show. If you cannot donate, just share that link all throughout social media. Really means a lot, as we're going to be rolling out some nice exclusive content for you guys coming up pretty soon. So on that note, that is pretty much going to do it. For those of you that's going to be waiting for this on the downloads, now that I've got this new laptop here, I'm able to just very quickly give me about, I would say, 15-20 minutes, and I'll have this available for you guys. First dibs goes to Spreaker, and it'll be available on the regular sites, regular links. You know the drill. Just check out the links, wee hours of the night. Appreciate everybody that popped on in the chat room. Hello to everybody. And everybody else that ended up listening to this live. Click on that little heart icon if you like. I see we got them in right now. 124 people showed up live to check out this after show. So really hope you guys had enjoyed it. Give me your thoughts. Remember, interact with me all throughout social media. All right, guys, have a very good night, good morning, Be safe, be kind to one another. Take care.